Hello, I'm glad for anyone who's watching this video, in the hopes that, this gives understanding, enlightenment, a revival, and, strengthening the faith, renewal of faith. God showed me something here, and, when he first showed me it, I was nervous and scared because I was like, God, you want me to show this to people? Like, I'm going to get rejected. They're going to think I'm changing the Bible, changing something up, or I'm, the Antichrist. But I'm not changing the Bible. It's something that's always been there. I think God, in the Bible, God says he would hide things from people knowing things and seeing things. And I think, he hid this from us because I don't think it was meant for us to be. I don't think he meant it for us to be, for it to be shown to us until, around this time right now. I think he wants to show that first of all, he's a living God, and he wants to show that, from what people consider an old book, he's still a living God, and bring a new revelation from something old. And also too, I'm reading out of the King James version. If you have any other version, they're a cancer. You should throw them away. God showed me something too. I'm gonna make another video. I don't know about today or next few days or so, showing you proof of what I'm talking about, and I'm almost guaranteed by the end of that video you'll understand and you'll be like, okay, I need to get a King James version and a dictionary if you have to. But anyway, also too, I'm not a denominational Christian. There's so many. I'm none of those. Like, there's so many. God's my source. I'm not a denominational Christian. A lot of people think Mormons, Christians, and Catholics, Jehovah's Witness, we're all the same. We're not. The name alone describes, they're totally. They're not. We're different. They're different. We're not the same. So before I show you this word, I just want you to know you heard it here first. Like I said, I'm not a Mormon, not a Jehovah's Witness, not a Catholic. Obviously the Muslims use the Bible as their foundation too because they had none. That's a whole other thing I'll get into in another video. But anyway, with one word here, also want to show you this word too before they try to change what the word means. With one word here, God showed me this. Oh, the reason I got into this is because somebody was saying, oh, well, prove God, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I can't just, it makes frustrating because I can't just summon God. He's not a genie. I could just summon up at any time. So I believe in God. I believe in the Bible because of God, right? I don't believe in God because of the Bible. So there's a difference there. So I never went looking for proof in my Bible to prove who God is. I already had the proof, right? God showed me who he was first, then I started reading my Bible. So the first time I went actually looking for proof in my Bible, he gave it. Any other time I went into my Bible was for looking for understanding, to learn, spend time with God, just get understanding, wisdom. So when I first opened my Bible for proof, he gave it to me within the first page, first couple of minutes, boom, because I started obviously at the beginning. And like I said, I'll get into it. And with this one word, like I said, I was in tears when he showed it to me because I was like, God, that's how powerful you are. With one word, you could destroy every religion that Satan ever created. And then also, all that's left is God versus science. And God was before science, and the Bible was before science. So there's one left standing, and that's the Alpha and Omega. And he makes science's footstool right here with one word. And let's get into it. I'll show you right here. In Genesis 1:28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air. Obviously, continue on another page, but boom, here it is right here. Boom. Replenish. Anybody know what the word that word means? Obviously, it means to restock or refill. It means the earth was out of something and God had to make more of it. So boom, here is showing that God's creating more man here, and that there was man before, because obviously replenish. So science calls Neanderthals is right here in this word. Either they were before this man or they're here. And no other, when I say God slays all other, no other religion claims that there's man before man before man. Because Adam was created in the garden in Genesis 2:19. This is a different man here. And Adam was created with a different purpose. And so if you notice here, God creates animals first and plants, then creates man. But in the garden, he creates Adam first, and then the plants, and then cattle. So that's something totally different. I don't exactly understand Eden. I don't know if it was I know it was a garden, but I don't know if it's like a type of heaven on earth. I can't really explain that. But I mean, have a concrete, understanding of that. I mean, there's other people who might have their own puzzles that God gave them. But this is the main piece right here, right? Replenish. And that's how powerful God is. People are looking for evidence in the Red Sea or asking how come God doesn't do this. And he's like, man, my word is enough. My word is enough, right? And if you think this is just a typo or something, go to Genesis 9, verse 1. And where he's telling Noah after the flood, he tells him to multiply and replenish. Because God wiped out all man right there. And so he's telling them to replenish, which means there was man before and now that's all that's left is Noah and his family, and he's telling them to replenish, right? So the same thing here. So earth is going on here, and Adam and Eve are something different, separate in Eden. And like I said, I'm not changing anything. This has already been here, right? It's just we kind of missed it. And another thing too, it says 6 days, but that could have been 6 days 10 billion years ago. It doesn't say. What it does say is it shows the genealogy of Adam, right, in the Bible, which shows Adam lived around 6,000 years ago, right? So I think that's where people think that's where creation started. But that doesn't say that. What it is a countdown. Obviously, 4,000 BC is when Adam was estimated to have lived around. So that's where they get to 6,000 years ago, which would mean a lot of people tell us, oh, Earth was created 6,000 years ago, but it doesn't say that because that's a countdown. If you notice BC, it goes 4,000 down to 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. That's a countdown to Jesus coming. So I think it was around 6,000 years ago when Adam was removed from the garden. And not necessarily, that was not when the earth was created. It's when Adam was separated from God. We were all separated. So, he got separated, and also too in Luke 3:23 through 38, it shows the genealogy of Jesus all the way back to Adam. And I was like, well, why would it? Aren't we all from Adam and Eve? And I think I was saying, like, no, because obviously bringing science here, I don't bring in science to God to prove what science says. Science proves what God says. And so science is good in the fact that it gives us kind of a look into the past, a visual look, but God's talking DNA and genealogy in Luke 3:23 through 38. He's showing that I come from Adam and Eve, because I think there was a point where he was going to show us that what he showed us right here, right? And so he wanted to make it clear, I come from Adam and Eve. I don't come from this man here, right? I come from Adam and Eve. And then also too, if you notice that Cain, he was scared of everyone killing him, but like, who's everyone if it's just his mom and his dad? Like, and then also how he found a wife after he was kicked out of the presence of God. So it's because there was already people here, right? So that's how. And then also too, God in Luke 3:23 through 38, it shows Jesus is talking DNA there. So obviously in some people's DNA, there's Neanderthal, what people, science calls Neanderthal. There's Neanderthal DNA, etc. Yada yada. So, and some people don't have that, right? So I think that's the importance of Luke 23:38, Jesus saying, I come from Adam and Eve. I don't come from here. So Jesus is already talking DNA there. And like I said, Cain was scared everyone was going to kill him. But I don't think necessarily they wanted to kill him because he killed his brother. Cain was the first prisoner on earth that the Bible talks about. And there's no prisons back then. There's no jails. So, and God cursed him where the earth wouldn't produce food for him. So he probably was going to have to result in stealing food from people, possibly, and they probably catch on to that, and they're probably like, when they see him come, they're probably going to want to kill him for having to do that. Maybe it possibly would have to do with this killing his brother, but I really think it was maybe a mix of both. But anyway, so I obviously found a wife. He found someone who cared for him, and which is good, kind of another way of God showing, take care of people who aren't able to take care of themselves. I think that's also something here to do with Cain. Obviously a prisoner who's not able to feed themselves are going to result into probably having to steal or, and people would see them come and they probably would want to harm them. That's why God, said if anyone, put the mark on Cain for nobody to kill him. So, like I said, I hope, like, for anyone, I've been sad so many times when I hear people say that, they're so scared in their science class because they had no answer, right? And, so that would make me so sad, but, there is your answer there, boom. There's no need to doubt anymore. Anybody who's ever had doubt or never had ammo to fight back, like I said, I've heard lots of stories of people just not knowing what to say or they just feel so laughed at. It's okay. God has the last laugh, so don't worry about that. Like I said, all those parties they probably had, what their motives a lot of times are that trying to prove that God doesn't exist. It's all right. God has the last laugh. So, I hope this gives enlightenment, revival. Like I said, you might have your own puzzles God gave you to maybe fill in some of these here. I apologize if I don't have professional equipment. This is my first time. Trust me, I was buckling. I was too nervous. This is not something I do. I'm not a professional YouTuber. It's just, I follow God and, this is what, he wanted me to get out there. And so I just got it out, maybe I'll improve on making videos next time. I'm not generally, my motive is not to just keep throwing out videos. It's what God gives me, I'm going to put out there. He's giving me some other stuff. Like I said, I'm going to make some other videos on there and then go from there, but thanks to anyone who's watching. I hope God willing this, helps strengthen in understanding and faith and wisdom. And so thanks for watching. I hope God blesses you. Amen. Bye.